Hello and welcome. In this video I'll be showing you how to solve inequalities. So we have our inequality here. 3x squared plus 29x plus 18 is less than or equal to 0. So the first thing is to actually factorize, and this actually has a 3 in front of the x squared, so it'll be a bit harder to factorize this, but same principle. And I've actually made a video on how to factorize these harder quadratics, so you can watch that if you want, but I'll redo the method right now. So what we'll do is we'll do the 3, we'll times it by the 18, so 3 times 18 is 54, and then we'll get this 29 and just write that in as well, and I'll make a little square around this. What this means is that our two numbers are gonna times to make 54, they're gonna add to make 29. So what two numbers times to make 54? So the factors of 54 are 54 and 1, 27 and 2. And there are some more, but I'm actually going to stop there because 27 plus 2 is equal to 29, so I'm just going to use this now and just write 3x and 3x and slot in the values here, so 27, positive 27, positive 2, and now I can actually divide all this. So leave 3x plus 2 as it is, divide this by 3, that would give me x plus 9, and all this is less than or equal to 0. So x here would equal minus 2/3 because 3x would equal minus 2, x would equal minus 2 over 3, so minus 2/3, and x here would equal 9. Oh, sorry, minus 9. So if we draw this graph actually, because this is a quadratic graph, and this is actually telling us the x-intercepts of that graph. So if I draw this, so minus 2/3 and minus 9, this is telling us where our x squared graph is going to intersect. So x squared graphs look like this, minus x squared graphs look like this. So ours is an x squared, so it'll have a U shape, so it'll go through this point and then this point. That's really bad. That's also really bad. It's fine, but that's the general idea. So yeah, it's supposed to intersect at that point. So what we're trying to find is the point. Actually, it's the point where the y value is less than 0, or this line here, if I highlight it, so it's less than 0. All of this. So this is the area where y equals 0, and we're trying to find the area where y is less than 0, because solve this equation, this line, when it is less than 0, or y is less than 0, and that just means we're finding the expression or equation for this area in yellow. And to find that, we're gonna just write when it's between minus 9 and it's between minus 2/3, when x is between minus 9 and minus 2/3, that's the answer to this. So I'm gonna write minus. I'm just gonna write minus 9 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to minus 2/3. This is saying basically that x, so this, the value for x in this can be from minus 9 to minus 2/3, including minus 9 and minus 2/3, because less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to minus 2/3. But yeah, that's what we're trying to find, and that's the expression. And yeah, let's move on to a harder question. So in this question here, it's the same question, just the line is actually greater than, so like, yeah, it's greater than 0, and I've actually marked on here, so I've already drawn the graph. It's the same graph because it's the same equation, and I'm just showing you what part of the line we're trying to find. So this part where it's greater than 0, the blue highlight shows where 0 is, and this bit's greater than 0. And now to write this, we're trying to find the x values again for which this y would be greater than 0. And to write that, we just say when x is going in this direction, because that's how the line's going up like this, right? And when x is going in this direction from here, from 2/3 and from -9, then this y would be greater than 0. It will be greater than 0. So to write that, we'll have to write two separate ones. So we'd write when -9. So when I shall write this as x. So when x is less than -9, because as you're going to the left, it's going to get less. It's going to get lower. So -9 to -10, -11. And on this side it'll be the opposite, it'll be getting greater as you go along, so it'll be when x is greater than -2/3. And that's your answer. So let's move on. So this question is for you to have a go at, and just pause the video here, have a go, and then when you're ready, press play. So now I'm going to go over the answer. So the first thing you're going to do is factorize, like last time, and you can use my method or just factorize, I don't know, using trial and improvement, but I'm going to use my method. So you get this number, this coefficient of the x squared, 2 times it by 21, 42. So that's what your two numbers are going to times to give you, and then you get your 17, so they're going to add to give you 17. Now to get factors of 42, so I guess you have 42 and 1. You also have 21 and 2. And then you have 14 and 3, I believe. And yeah, I've already found my factor pair. 14 plus 3 is equal to 17. So I can use this now. And I can just sub it in for 2x. So plus 14 plus 3. I can divide this by 2 to give me x plus 7 and 2x plus 3. That's my factorized answer, and now I can find x. So 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, 2x is equal to -3, so x is equal to -3/2. And therefore x here is equal to -7. Now we're going to draw the graph. So they're both minus numbers, so I'm just going to ignore the positive x-axis, just have this negative one, and label my x-intercepts on. So -3/2, -7. And now I can draw my graph, so you know that x squared graphs have a U shape, so I'm going to make that U shape now. So yeah, and now we can actually figure out what part of our line we're trying to get. So in this case, we're trying to find the part where it is less than 0, so it would be this bit here. And now we can write that down as, if I go back to black pen, I can write that as -7 is less than x. Make sure you write less than, not less than or equal to, like for the first question, because in your question you're given a less than sign here, so use this sign, and then that's less than -3/2. You can't really see it from here, but that's -3/2, and that's your answer. So in this last question, it's the same as all the other ones, except for one little difference that will make the question a lot harder. So we've got a negative x squared. That means our graph will look like this, because that would equal negative x squared. So that's something to keep in mind. But the same applies. So we're gonna use the same method again. So for step 1, we're gonna factorize, and you do -2, the coefficient of the x squared, times -3, which is 6. So your number would times to give you 6. Your number would add to give you 7. So if I list the factors for 6 right now, I'd get, well, 6 and 1, 3 and 2. And I think that's it, because 6 plus 1 is equal to 7, so I'll be using 6 and 1, and I can just write this as minus 2x minus 2x. So then this would be positive 6, this would be positive 1, and I can simplify this down to minus 6 plus 3 and minus 2x plus 1. And all of that is less than 0. And you might say that, oh, this is wrong, because if you've noticed already, if you expand this out, it won't actually equal this up here, minus 2x squared plus 7x minus 3. But it doesn't really matter, because the actual answer, that what this should be is x minus 3, should be the opposite way around. But either way, it's going to be equal to 0, and x is equal to 3 here, so x is equal to 3. Even if it was that, and even now, if I still make it equal to 0, I can still make the x equal to 3. So minus x plus 3 is equal to 0. Minus x equals minus 3, and x is equal to 3. So you get the same answer for x, but if you want to factorize properly, you can change that. And I can't think of any way of actually doing that without looking at it and seeing if it actually expands, which is why it's important to actually expand your answer, just to make sure it's the correct factorized version. But it's still going to work anyway. So you'd get 3 for x, so x would equal 3, and x here would be equal to well, minus 2 plus 1 minus 2x would equal minus 1. So x would equal 1 over 2, so it would equal a half. And now we only have positive values again for this. We have x is equal to 3, x is equal to a half. So I'm only going to draw the positive side of the x-axis to show you. So if I put half here, so 0.5, and then I have 3 here. Now if I draw my graph, my minus x squared graph now, if you remember, if I draw that, going through positive 0.5 and minus 3, it will look something like that. So now we're trying to find the bit of this graph which is less than 0, but the y is less than 0. So as I've explained before, the y, where y equals 0 is the blue bit, and what we're trying to find right now is the bit where it is less than 0, so it'll be these two bits over here. Sorry, where it's greater than 0, my bad. I can't read apparently, so where it's greater than 0, so it'll be this bit here. And to calculate this, so to get this, we just have to write a little expression. So write that now. So 0.5, so when x is greater than 0.5, so it's going to be between when x is here and here. So between when x is 0.5, x is greater than 0.5, and it is less than 3. So that's when this would be greater than 0. So I can just write that, and that will be our answer. And I hope this video was helpful. Hope you learned something, and thanks for watching.